Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm Michael Sandler.
I'm Jessica Lee.
Woohoo! And we are live and
happy to be live again after.
Oh, okay, yes, I'll buy that.
How many weeks has it been?
I don't know. It feels like it's been a month.
It's all a blur. Where are you going?
I'm getting Lotus. Hopefully, this is acceptable here. For those who haven't seen us before, this is a YouTube Live we're doing tonight. Is not really our normal format, but nothing is our normal format right now.
It's the new normal, I guess. Mm-hmm. We just packed up in 2.5 weeks, packed up our whole house, put it all into storage.
Yep.
Most of it, except for what we put on the RV.
Yep.
And we hit the road about 6 days ago in this new RV rental that we're still learning about.
How does the water work? Why is it rising up in the toilet? Why, when you plug into water, do you not have any?
My worst fear growing up was flushing the toilet and then seeing the water starting to rise. I'd start to panic because I didn't know how to stop it.
And that occurred earlier today. I went and took Ruru for a walk, our rooster, and came back, and you were concerned.
I was flushing the toilet to get the water to drain.
And it just kept coming back up and coming back up. So I'm going to grab my bracelet here. I have managed to completely...
I was wondering why you're so distracted.
Because I managed... It's part of the journey. It's just part of the journey because I wanted my bracelet so that I can rotate through love.
Oh, okay.
I like to rotate through love. So where are we in the world?
So in this moment, we are in a parking lot at a super Walmart in Bozeman, Montana.
And why are we in a Walmart parking lot?
Because we had a great experience at another super Walmart in Rifle, Colorado, where we had blazing internet from Walmart, compliments of Walmart.
So when you're in an RV, you're dependent on either your internet off of your cell phone provider, if you spend thousands and thousands, your internet off of satellite, or you can pull into some RV places that have Wi-Fi, or you get to a Walmart or a Costco. And so we are at Walmart. Although this is not just any Walmart. What is that implement of destruction we hear going on behind us?
I don't know if you guys can hear any of the background noise, but
and are we hooked up with this mic tonight?
Oh, that's a great question. Oops.
Can people hear this tapping or not? And if
there's
not,
nothing we can do about it now.
I guess not.
Can you guys hear us okay? No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. You're messing with us now. No. Edward.
I think they can hear us through the laptop mic.
That's my guess. Tapping. No.
Tapping no. Okay.
So we didn't. Should we move the laptop in closer or no?
So well, they can hear us okay, so I don't think we have to move it in. We could move closer to. Okay.
Why not? I could move the slide out.
No, we're good.
We're good? Are you sure that's safe? All right. You were saying.
I don't recall.
So we're in the Super Walmart parking lot, and they are doing massive construction basically right outside our window. Is that an exaggeration?
Oh, yes, because there's massive construction in every part of Bozeman. It's changed quite a bit since we were last here 10 years ago.
It is. I've never seen. We've traveled all across the country. We've traveled to Southeast Asia. I've never seen, and Mexico and Canada and some other places. And lived in Europe. I've never seen construction like this anywhere. This is like 10x the most construction I've seen anywhere else.
Maybe I've seen this kind of construction in China, but it was more like sky rises.
So what does that have to do? So
we're just catching everybody up to speed.
Okay, I like that. Why don't you take us through? We were just interviewed, and that went a lot smoother than this. Why don't you take us through catching us up to speed, maybe the last few weeks?
I I kind of did at the very beginning.
Our house.
I said we packed up the house,
Yep.
put everything into storage,
Yep.
moved into the RV,
Yep.
brought way too much stuff
Yep.
with us because we got a bunch of equipment for documenting this trip. So cameras, tripods, that sort of thing. And also, we weren't planning on packing up our entire house before going on this tour. In fact, news kind of came to us 2.5 weeks before we moved out. So we had a bunch of food in our pantry back in the house. And you can't put food in storage because if you do, then mice come in and visit your storage unit quite often.
Move in.
They move in, they build their home in your storage unit, and you come back to what looks like forbidden rice. A lot of forbidden rice.
That was well put. That was really good.
I don't know.
I didn't see that coming.
Forbidden rice is, but it's black colored rice, and the reason why that came to mind is we have forbidden rice with us here. On the bag.
The random stuff we have on this RV.
It's really healthy. It's like the healthiest rice you can get. It's a little hard on your digestion, so if you eat it, you should mix it with another kind of rice. But
Use your sponsor, Lotus Rice.
The bag of rice spilled a little bit into this plastic container, and I looked down at it and I thought, oh my gosh, it looks like mice have been here. Okay, so that was an odd tangent. So what I was saying is we brought a lot of food onto this RV. Bags and bags of like coconut flakes, because you go through these phases where you just want more and more of this like one thing.
Behind me, up above here, is filled with sugar. We don't even eat sugar. Hummingbirds we feed sugar. And we have pound after pound after pound after pound after pound of sugar.
Sorry, I had to delete the spammer.
Yes.
So, where were we? So we got on the road 6 days ago, and we're still digging our way out of clutter. It's much better now than when we first moved in. It was really hard to walk around because it's 35 feet long. It does have 3 slide outs, which means, you know, like parts of the RV that push out when you're parked. But it's still, it's like a tiny house.
It is. It's like, I think it's about, I keep saying 200, but it's probably about 180 square foot. It might even be smaller than that. It's, if you did 35 feet long by 8 feet wide, well, you might actually have over 200 square feet. So it's definitely a small little tiny home.
So there's the 2 of us, there's 3 kitties, and then there's a rooster.
We're using the rooster house right now as a coffee table, and he is sleeping inside of it, and Meowsers is really threatening to push the laptop right off of the...
No.
Oh, yeah. He's scratching on the back of the monitor.
When you see the monitor do this, that's their Meowsers letting his presence be known.
That was
and when
Ruru.
you hear the clucking, that's the rooster.
Here's Sir Meowsers, who's going, I love the RV. Woohoo! Not very dignified.
Seems a little improper.
I have no idea where to even go with that. I have no idea. So okay, so you're catching him up to speed. So
we've been absent from YouTube because it's a lot of work to pack up your whole house, your lives in 2.5 weeks, and also at the same time prepare for an RV trip. I mean, just picking up the RV alone required 8 hours of driving to and back from Denver, Colorado, and like a 2-hour tutorial walkthrough with the owner of the RV to learn about the ins and outs of how to run this rig.
Which I did not pay close enough attention. I recorded everything on video. I don't know what happened.
We were so exhausted from packing and from the drive. It was really difficult to stay focused during the tutorial. And the reason we're renting is it's a big commitment to purchase an RV. And we thought, well, let's rent one and see what we like and what we don't like. And so first of all, let's see if we like it. And if we like it, at least we have a better idea of, the size of the RV, what amenities we could do without. So far, I haven't found any.
Without, I'm wanting more amenities, specifically something that helps that in heavy winds or narrow mountain roads, keep going from this with every breeze, with everything, and I'm white knuckling down the road.
He has done an amazing job of driving the RV. No, I have not driven the RV yet. Maybe I'll drive like in Kansas when we're heading across the country to the East Coast and the highway is straight.
Without grooves.
Although there might be big winds out there.
It's possible. So, I just want to catch our breath. I just want to catch our breath with you and say, it's really good to be back on the mic. Sorry we haven't shared in a few weeks. This has been such a journey in transition. There's going to be a lot of good content coming up. But wow.
I mean, it was one of the most stressful experiences I've ever been through. And we've been through a lot. You've been through 2 NDEs. I've been through one of your NDEs.
Which is actually probably harder.
This was harder than your NDEs, right?
I would totally agree. Oh, okay, there was the moment of pain, and that first hour of pain was significant. Right. But this is a level of...
But once you were like scooped up into the ambulance and brought to the hospital, you kind of had... I wouldn't say you could breathe a sigh of relief yet, but okay, after surgery...
I was just completely exhausted, and guess what? After an NDE, or after what I went through, you could sleep. Right now, we've just been exhausted, and it has been go, go, go. 2.5 weeks to pack up our entire lives and move out of our home. Go, 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 go. A day or two to get everything into storage, plus all of our cars. Go, 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 go. A day or two to get the whole RV figured out, get on the road, get moving, because we got socked in with smoke, and you get sick with smoke, and we have to try to find out what direction do we go with smoke. Go, 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 go. And here we are.
So the fact that we're in this random parking lot, in like parked next to a freeway of some sort, I think, and construction 50 yards that way, you're getting closer. I'm expecting someone to like knock on the door and ask us to move.
I am more than half expecting this, but we'll be fine.
It's kind of a relief because the hard part's over. So over the last couple months, has it been months? We've been talking about the concept of the rising phoenix and the idea of like crashing into this huge flame and getting burned. That's basically what we've been going through. And we're now finally feeling like we're actually starting to come out of the ashes.
It's interesting. I have no idea what's going to be birthed out of this. A lot of people are asking about the house, and I wonder if I can share briefly the real briefest version. So the real briefest version is we moved to Colorado 2.5 years ago. And we moved into this amazing mountain home where we had, in essence, it was a rental with a way that we could buy this over time. And it looked like in March of this past year, we were going to be purchasing this home. Stock market went crazy. And then we found out all of these different things about the house that meant that we actually didn't want to purchase it.
The house needed so much work that we realized it would cost far more than just the asking price, that in the long run it cost like probably an additional 50%.
I would say it was going to be twice as expensive, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And being a mountain dream home was not on the less expensive side of things to begin with. And so once we decided we didn't want to purchase it, universe flipped a switch on us very, very quickly. We kind of ignored that switch for a little while. There may be a lesson or two in there. But first off, as soon as we said we probably don't want to buy it, COVID hit. And it was fine for a little while. Everything was calm and quiet. But the house was officially on the market. And then once the initial wave of COVID passed, what happened?
Then it was house showing after house showing after house showing.
What does that mean? Because we didn't own the house. So what does the house showing mean? What did it entail?
It meant making the house showing ready, which means cleaning the house. And at the time, we had stopped cleaning service because we didn't want additional people coming into the house, possibly exposing us to COVID. So it meant that I was spending a minimum of 4 hours cleaning myself. Even though it was a conflict of interest because you don't want to help sell a house you live in, it was the right thing to do.
But how did it make your gut feel?
It's really uneasy when at any moment you feel like the house that you're living in could be sold and you have to pack up and move, which ultimately is what we did. But that uncertainty that, your house is like your sanctuary. It's where you want to go to feel safe and secure. And this house wasn't feeling that way anymore. And the second to last week, the full last week that we were there, or was it second to last week?
The basic timeline is this: COVID, March to April, May, June, COVID. Then showing after showing after showing after showing after showing, and then the house went under contract. And we're told that you'll have until mid to late November to be able to move, which is perfect. We would be able to do our RV tour, and then we would come back, and then we would find a new place to move to. And we were very happy, not happy that the house had sold, but we were happy with that timeline. Then the people who were interested in purchasing the house found all the challenges that we had seen as well and pulled out of the contract. And immediately after the house was back on the market, that first week, 24 people I counted during the time of COVID came into the house, 11 different house showings. People coming into our house. Imagine being in your living room. You're not really wanting to wear a mask in your living room. And a person after 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 person comes in. You have to have it showing ready. Then they come in, they leave. Then you have to have it showing ready. They come in, then they leave. And what were we doing? We were back in the studio, the back part of the house with the kitties so that the kitties wouldn't get out when they would leave a door open. And really the term that came to mind, and it's no deference to the owners, but it felt like an invasion, sanctuary invasion.
It's one thing to have a gathering of your friends and family because you know what their behaviors are like. You trust them, but these are complete strangers and you don't know if they're wearing masks all the time.
They're in your room. They're in your face, literally. Quite literally. They're in the studio looking around the nook and cranny. You're sitting behind your keyboard with the camera there or whatever, and they're right there, and you have no idea where they've been, who they've interacted with, or you see them actually just put up the mask at the last second.
Or they're holding up their shirt like
yes,
this.
No mask at all.
So I know everybody has different takes on COVID and whether or not you should wear a mask, but for us, we believe in wearing masks, not just to protect yourself, but mostly to protect those around you in case you're carrying something. So especially the elderly or those who are at greater risk. But in your home, you would hope that you have control over your living space.
Who's coming in, who's not,
it's one thing to have judgments about the outdoors, public spaces, retail stores, or whatever. I try not to judge what's going on out there, but I want to have control over my personal space.
And so we went from that 11 showings that week to it, not as many in 1 week time period, but more showings after more showings after more showings, until we let the owners know that for certain, after we come back from tour, that we'd be finding another place, that it was just too much for us. And that it was just too difficult, too hard on the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And they suggested, from a financial point of view, instead of renting the place while you're gone, why don't you move out at the end of this month? And they were actually pretty strong about that, because this post-COVID world, a house outside of the city will probably sell pretty quickly. And so they wanted it empty at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were given 2.5 weeks to pack up our entire business, our entire lives, our entire past business with all of our books, at the same time as we were about to go on tour. And that was mega. And I don't know how we did it. I don't know how you did it, because you were absolutely my rock star hero. I'm still trying to do interviews. I'm trying to do coaching. We're trying to keep the place in order for house showings who are coming in while we're doing interviews and coaching.
Well, packing and moving became my full-time job. I basically stopped virtually all work. There just wasn't time. I mean, maybe it sounds like we have way too much stuff that took too long. But
I think
we actually donated one fifth of everything that we.
If we go with all the books in the garage, much more than that. 1/4
of our belongings, and there's more to donate. We just ran out of time to get to.
The donation place closed on us, quite literally.
Yeah,
and it's in cars in storage. So at that point, we'll probably have donated a good third of all of our possessions.
And there's even more things to sell, but yeah, we just ran out of time.
Shell shock. That's the word for it. And people are going, why would you say homeless today? We're not saying that we're in the same position as somebody who's lost anything, not even close to it. But what we are saying is we have completely come unmoored, unglued in this will be helpful. But I won't even finish my sentence. You had something coming up.
Well, literally, we don't know where we're going to move to after this rental is over in 6 weeks. We could move back to the town that we moved out of, but it just doesn't feel like home anymore. So this is our temporary mobile home, but it's not for the long term.
I want to switch to the positives in a moment, because this is all positives. This coming unmoored, this coming unglued is really here to serve us. With that said, we don't have any idea what's coming, and we're really putting ourselves out there to see what opens itself up to us, and we get to rest. I mean, we're talking about peace right now. This is not a complaint. And Wayne Dyer says he would never say this to people. He would never say, I am tired. I am exhausted.
Why wouldn't he say he's tired?
Because he doesn't want to complain to others. And he said, you can change your energetic state.
Oh.
I'm exhausted. This has been, how much have we aged over the last month, Cookie?
I think it's just temporary. And if there was better lighting, you could probably see how much we've aged over the last few weeks. But yeah, it definitely took a toll on our physical health, because we weren't taking care of ourselves during that time. I mean, I would literally wake up at 4:30 every morning, not because I wanted to, not because I was going to do my morning routine and meditate, but because I happened to wake up for whatever reason, and immediately my mind would go through the long to-do list. Like there was no pushing that to-do list out of my mind, because
all I can think of is we're there in the RV. We've packed up the entire house. We're in the driveway. We're trying to take care of the last few things. On one day, the carpet cleaner comes and is very upset that we're still in the driveway, and he leaves. And so the next day, We have everything gone except for the RV. We've locked the door, and the carpet cleaner comes and immediately pulls a U-turn because the vehicle was still there. We were under pressure that had nothing to do with us, from owners, from cleaners, from this, from that, each step, without complaint. That was reality on a daily basis. It was a freaking go, go, go. And so here we are in a Walmart parking lot going, man, earplugs sound really good. I think I could just pass out.
I think someone earlier had asked, well, why a Walmart parking lot? Well, we did spend the last 2 nights at a really nice campground outside of Yellowstone. But the Wi-Fi was terrible there, and we really needed to get good Wi-Fi. So to be somewhere central, to be able to upload hours and hours of video footage to our editor.
Because we want to share this whole journey with you.
Yeah. There's a lot of behind the scenes footage, a lot of tears right now. We're not crying because we're so excited to be live again and to be communicating with you guys. We're kind of on this high, but I said this earlier, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. It was really, really challenging emotionally and physically.
To me, if we don't want to sugarcoat things, the biggest thing is the challenge between you and I because of all the wounds that are coming up right now. And it's really scary because when you're in the groove, when you're in a rhythm, and I talked about this large scale, the year of 2020 of us all experiencing this, when you're in your pattern, old wounds that haven't been fully healed, it's the expression, let sleeping dogs lie. But as soon as you come on board, things come back up to be healed. And this has been a really rough time for the two of us as a couple. I can't think of the number of times the D word has come up one time after the next, because it feels like everything's, to me, amped up right now. Everything is amplified. And so it's been a really good time. And by good, I mean, we're making changes, at least I am. You may not need it, but making changes very, very quickly. The nice thing about a tiny rolling home, particularly if you don't know where you're going from here, you're very hyper concerned about what you want to put into it, where you want to put things, and where you're going to be taking them off and putting them next. This is enforcing, is that the right word? Encouraging highly some massive changes very quickly.
Yeah, for one thing, you really upped your decluttering skills.
I was up till 11 last night. This is a boy who likes to go to bed at 8.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it. Decluttering skills.
You're finished what you were going to say.
I did.
Okay. All you said was you were up till 11 last night.
Because you said massive. You were talking about my decluttering skills.
Okay. Yeah, because there's.
Sorry, Ruben.
You have to run a tight ship when you're in a tight ship. But back to the relationship challenges. You've interviewed Michael Lennox several times this year. Michael Lennox is an amazing astrologer. And the two of you call 2020 the year of reckoning, an opportunity for healing old wounds, right? This is the year where a lot of things from the past come up. And they come up because the universe wants you to see that it's still there, that the wound is still there, and to give you the opportunity to heal it.
Which is why in the first interview with him for this year, I called Dr. Michael Lennox, or we called it the year of reinvention, year of reckoning. And then the second interview, we called it the year of reinvention, which is kind of our logo now. Our new logo is the phoenix rising from the ashes. That is the reinvention process. And hopefully we're rounding a corner from reckoning. And the last few weeks have been your reckoning of me.
Well, it's kind of crazy how similar what's happening to us right now compares to what happened to us 10 years ago when we first got together. And we went on a book tour, a 5-month-long book tour under very different circumstances, but still similar in many ways. And so it is bringing up a lot of wounds from those early years that apparently haven't been fully healed.
Well, there's been times where you've said you haven't changed at all, and maybe that's true, or it is hitting that wound from 10 years ago that hasn't been healed yet and gets to come up in order for us to do the work on it. I'd like to think I've made a change or two. She's not nodding yes.
I was about to say, yes, you have.
Thank you.
So it's October 6th, and our 10-year anniversary is actually 4 days from now. And what are we going to do?
Well, what she has challenged us to do, and I love this idea, is to make a commitment, but not a commitment to each other of I commit to you for life, I commit. I would feel like joking about being committed, but to make a commitment of how we are going to change or what we're going to do or something to that effect.
Well, we talked about renewing our vows on our anniversary. We've talked about this for years, actually. Because the first time
I've been so excited for 10-10-10 to renew, or 10-10-20 to renew our vows.
One of the reasons is because when we first got married in 2010, there was a little miscommunication with our friend who was, what is it called? Not overseeing, Zach.
Yeah. About renewing the vows?
No. What does it mean, presiding?
Yes.
Presiding over?
Oh, so
think of the word.
So well, presiding over the wedding.
Officiating. Is that the word?
It sounds like he's got a whistle and he's refereeing.
Rick says it's officiating.
All right, we'll go with officiating.
Okay. Anyway, he was gonna come up with something generic, sort of. I mean, not really generic, because he was like a dear friend. But then he thought that we were gonna compose our own vows. But the wedding was planned and all came together in 3 weeks' time.
Isn't that interesting? Think about that for a second.
Yes, that is interesting.
That was good.
So we didn't carve out the time to write out our own vows. And so Zach came up with something beautiful to say. It was actually an awkward moment where he said at this time, something along the lines of, this time we'll have Michael and Jessica share their vows to each other. And we were like, we didn't write any. But you're so great on the spot.
Which actually, in a sense, is a backfiring, because I got to share something and you didn't. And that really hurt you.
Well, yeah, I think I felt very embarrassed at the time. Anyway, so that's the reason why we've been talking about renewing our vows for years, because we'd actually take the time to write our own vows and make it personal. So the idea that I came up with today is to come up with requests of the other person for vows.
Requests from the other person. So I can make a request to you of what I'd like for the next 10 years? Oh, goody!
Wait, were you not?
That's not how I understood it.
How did you understand it?
I understood it as to how we were going to vow how we were going to change.
Yes, that's true. But based on the requests of the other person. Like, my request would be that you commit to minimizing chaos.
I like that very, very much.
Because your lives have been quite chaotic for the last decade.
What my number?
Oh, in your life, I think, well, I would argue that your life has been chaotic since birth.
Maybe even before that. But I have had some interludes of peace. But that is my SMP for this journey. We were both out separately. What is your home, a dream, a goal, or intention for this journey? Mm-hmm. And it was one word: peace. You know, I want to remodel, rebuild everything, but from a place of more peace. which is ironic because right outside of here is an asphalt cutter grinder right now.
I don't even care. Like that compared to the last few weeks is like nothing. That is peaceful.
I'm going to agree.
That
nobody can come in our home.
We're in an RV and nobody can, that we have the right to turn people away from the front door.
Amen to that.
We don't have to let anybody in.
And we're loving, kind people.
That is peace. I know. Well, a lot of spiritual people, they really cherish their alone time. Their so they can do their sacred practices in peace on their own terms. Right?
Absolutely.
We have to take care of ourselves to be able to continue giving to others. At least mere mortals, most people.
Meaning we're mere mortals? We have to...
I'm a mere mortal.
I'm a mere
mortal. You
mortal.
might be a god.
What? Let's bookmark this. What time did this come in? I can't see, but I want to remember that for life.
You might. I didn't say you are. It's not my place to decide whether or not you are a god.
All I can think of is the movie Ghostbusters where they said, "Are you a god?" And you're supposed to say yes. All right. What else should we share with people, or what's coming up, or anything before we go? And
so we are in the midst of developing a new show format during this time period.
Yep.
And we just had an amazing recording session with our editor, who's also like our director.
I was going to say guardian angel at this point.
Yeah. And that's been a blessing. Every time we've gone through a transition like this, and it seems to happen in the past so far. It doesn't have to continue this way, but it seems like we've gone through major life transitions every 5 years. This show started, Inspire Nation show started 5 years ago. Before that, we got together, moved in together, and started a business, and that was one of the most challenging years of my life.
I consider myself a very centered, grounded individual, even though I have moved quickly over the last few years, and Jessica would say too quickly. But I had PTSD and a lot of wounds to work on when we got together that I gifted Jessica. Sorry. And so those early years were really, really hard on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And occasionally things happen, and a switch flips, and subconsciously I start running a program, some protective self-defense program that was put into place 10 years ago. And we've done a lot of healing work on me, but there's still work to be done.
Which I'm happy to work with you on.
And you still have
a lot of work to be done myself. I'm not, what's the term I used earlier tonight? Pollyanna. I'm perfect. There's a lot of work that gets to be done. And certainly you would claim that I am, at my lesser moments, quite fear-based. I would say it's more safety-based. I'm safety-based for our kitties. I'm safety-based for Ruru, our rooster. I'm safety-based for you. You would say that I cross the line and get fear-based, and I get to work on that as well. That's the biggie for me. And I don't historically do well without some sense of structure and order. And so I either get to learn how to thrive in that, I won't call it chaos, in that creative process of rebirthing ourselves, or I get to figure out how amongst the disorder to put in some order. And those are my wounds coming back up. 10 years ago, we got off a book tour and we didn't have a place to live. I flipped out. I went completely nutty nuts. Just a crying ball of steamy something. I'm in a very different place right now, but it is interesting to watch. So far, those triggers seem to be good. We worked off the side of the road in a sense earlier today. Not my proudest moment how that worked out. It was very, very helpful for my clients. But the wounds tried to come up of you're not being professional, you're not doing a good job. If you were more responsible, and I'm like, whoa, hey, dude, take it easy. And I was able to watch those things and clear those things rather than to just keep running that old program.
Right. It seems like the wounds that are programmed during childhood continue to resurface for perhaps your entire life, and it's just a matter of how you respond to those triggers that changes.
Yeah.
And eventually you get to a point where that trigger takes place and you catch it like that, and you can snuff out the flame.
And I'm doing much better there. And this one earlier today, I thought I handled magnificently well. I can do even better because things rise up in you, and can I catch them even sooner? I don't know if you want to answer some of these questions here. I wanted to just give people a 2-second update. Sir Meowsers is to my left. Lovebug is to my Sir Meowsers is in front of me. Lovebug's to my left. Lumi's to my left. And under this kind of coffee table thing here is Ruru. And Ruru does get outside time in a chicken run each and every day with his portable chicken run that we have. The kitties are indoor kitties.
Yeah. And Michael is adamant about finding parking where we're always positioned next to a grassy area for Ruru to be outdoors, pecking for bugs and worms and grass.
Now, when we went on tour 10 years ago and we're pulling into a parking area and my blood sugar is going low, that would be freak out time for you because you were afraid I was going to freak out, which I probably would. Today, we pull into the Walmart parking lot. There's construction going on. I've got a 35-foot RV. It's one of the most crowded parking lots I've been in, period.
Well, we also arrived during rush hour.
And I very slowly said, we are going to find a good space, and took my time, didn't I?
You did. Yeah. And specifically, a good space meant a space next to a grassy pasture.
So Ruru, we could set up our temporary chicken run, and he could have some time so that, because it's not fair to him to be, he enjoys the travels, although we haven't given him free roam of the RV because we haven't litter trained him yet, but so that he could have his outdoor time.
And I don't know that he would actually like enjoying, I don't think that he would enjoy roaming around the RV as much as being outdoors.
I would agree.
And the reason why he's down here right now is his bedtime is 6:30. So he prefers to be in his little roost in the dark because we have it covered, napping.
And it's actually, it's a folding soft dog kennel that he is sleeping in that we're using as a coffee table here right now.
I'm just seeing what questions there are.
Yeah. Lots of love.
I'm actually having trouble seeing because the screen is dim. Do you see any questions?
And I can turn the screen up. Feel free to put your questions out there. Is that better?
Yeah, I just turned off the
blue light thingy?
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you answer where's Sir Meowsers? Sir Meowsers is like 3 feet over there napping on the bench. Any plans to stop in Kansas? We're driving through Kansas. I don't know that we don't really have plans of stopping anywhere except possibly Las Vegas definitely the Grand Canyon.
And you'll have to say why, because Vegas isn't usually our cup of tea,
Because
but you never know.
Michael interviewed Kyle Gray.
Sorry.
Yes.
The knee in the...
Who's a medium and channels angels. And Kyle Gray saw lights and he said, "Are you guys going to Vegas? You guys have to go to Vegas and tell me about it." So that's why possibly Vegas. And you found out that there's like RV parking in Vegas.
Yes, I did.
So the Grand Canyon, because that's one of your favorite places on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and Sedona, because that's one of my favorite places on Earth, and possibly a potential new home. And then New Jersey, where my parents are, and Massachusetts, where your parents are.
And we went to Yellowstone yesterday and today, and we were planning on going to Bozeman and scoping this area out. We had originally planned on going north of here. I don't believe that's in the plans now, but I am open. I just keep saying I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. I don't know, because it's so much construction here. Although maybe you can't judge the direction we came in as to the whole town, but wow. But when we go back east, going to the Kansas question, I think once we better way to put it, once we're through Arizona, it is, and we go straight across the country and up to New Jersey. And then after we visit our folks, it is time to get the RV returned to its rightful owner, which is when things get really interesting, because we don't know where we're going to empty out the RV and give the RV back. What are we going into?
Yeah, I mean, if we enjoy the RV living experience, we might look into purchasing an RV and moving from this RV into another RV.
That's when follow the tour. November, first, second week of November. Not only are there big changes in the country, but that could be a very interesting time period in our lives. I hope, I pray, celebratory, but even in any challenges, this is helping us for our growth. What'd you catch?
I'm still looking for questions. Kyle has have a fun Yellowstone. We were in Yellowstone yesterday. Actually, this morning we were driving through Yellowstone to get here.
I coached from Yellowstone.
We'll be stopping in Yellowstone again. Well, actually, you had the idea of stopping at Old Faithful on.
I thought Old Faithful on 10-10-10. It's so cliche, but to me it signifies a continuity. And so maybe it's not there, but
Tiffany asks, how do you take a leap of faith into fear, moving into the unknown?
I think, Tiffany, the answer is, well, first I would check in automatic writing. I always recommend that. That's why we have our automaticwriting.com, and we write about it. But then you just lean into it. You say, all right, this is uncomfortable, this is scary, I've got to do it anyway, because there's real living that comes out of it. How do you do it? I mean, it sounds so cliche, but it's true. We took our deep breath or not, and still stepped forward.
For me, it's kind of measuring the amount of pain and suffering that not leaping would cause versus the fear. And so if the pain and suffering seems like it's going to be greater than the fear of whatever, then I take the leap.
That's why universe made it so uncomfortable in our house, is to help usher us. How many signs until you know you're so uncomfortable you get to put yourself out
there. Honestly, I started getting uncomfortable living in that house a year ago, and we could have moved a year ago, and it could have been a much easier transition. But we did love that house so much, and the animals and the land. And we stayed.
If we had left a year ago, though, we might have chosen to stay in the valley.
Sure. I mean, there are so many reasons that we may never know why it was perhaps better for us to stay an extra year.
But let me just say this. I call her Pookie or Pook Star, and the Pookie is always right. And when the Pookie saw the writing on the wall before me, I was so attached to the animals that I was unwilling or not ready to look past that. So you were right and I was wrong.
Okay. Thank you. Kathy says, do you have the money to buy anything? Well, actually, buying an RV would be a lot cheaper than renting one. So, yes.
Well,
did you have anything else to say?
Home-wise, or we're talking RV, yes. If we're talking home-wise, that becomes a little bit more interesting. The whole game is a little bit interesting at this point, and we'll just see how it pans out.
What do you mean? I mean, it depends on like what home you want to buy.
And what RV you want to buy. Like I was looking at the Newells earlier today, and a 2008 was $500,000.
Right. I didn't even know RVs could be $1.8 million. But that's not the kind of investment we would make into an RV.
Yeah. I'm going to just address real quickly. Are you done with Inspire Nation? Oh, heck no. We're certainly shifting format right now because we want to share our journey and share the lessons. We've interviewed over 1,200 guests. And so the question is it just all chewing gum for the soul, or have you actually learned, grown, and evolved? And so part of the reason I feel universe has put us out here is so that we can apply those lessons and share what we're going through and share the difficulties and share the beauties. It doesn't mean that we won't not do interviews with anybody anymore. But first off, this amazing, beautiful woman right here is going to be on cam at least equal to me, sharing her message. Somebody said you got squashed during the wedding. You're getting squashed no more. You get to speak your truth.
You know, I don't feel that I got squashed during the wedding. I have a hard time being put on the spot, and back then, 10 years ago, I had even a harder time being put on the spot. So when that question came up, my mind just went blank because I got so scared. And it was far worse when I was a child, public speaking, that is, unprepared anyway. My mind would go blank. Just like, imagine that you go in to take a test and you've crammed for it, you've studied all night, and then you go to, you sit down at the desk and you've got the test in front of you, and the teacher says, okay, flip the test over, and you've had all these formulas in your head, but then you look at the questions and you go completely blank.
Sounds like my world.
Because of nerves. But yes, I did get squashed as a child, and I have felt squashed in situations with Michael because he's such a good speaker. Words come to him so easily, and I have to actually think of what I want to say before I say it. But I would say in that case, nobody squashed me. It was my own doing from my programming at the time. I don't remember why that came up.
We're talking about what the new format of the show will look like on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And I was saying that you will be sharing your truth and your voice and your messages.
Yeah. And Michael does a really great job of constantly looking at me and asking, what are you thinking about? To the point where I'm like, stop asking me, because sometimes there's nothing in here.
I don't buy that. Unless you're in a meditative state. That's a different story.
No, sometimes there's just blankness. There's quiet, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's just, I don't know, the culture doesn't really appreciate silence in conversation. Silence during conversation is viewed as awkward, but silence in a conversation is actually, it'd be really comfortable for me. Like actually just spend time looking at the other person that you're having a conversation with. Like just enjoy being in their presence without having to exchange words. That feels really good to me. Like I'm dropping into that right now, and it's like, relief. I don't have to think of a word or words or something pithy. Do you get to have alone time? Yes, we don't do everything together. So when Michael was coaching, I went for a walk around West Yellowstone. Is that the name of the town?
It is.
And I walked into some souvenir shops. Actually, a rock and crystal shop. Those are some of my favorite stores. And I got a mocha latte and with whipped cream, and I enjoyed that. And then I walked into the forest a little bit. Did you have anything to say about that?
No, I make sure I go for walks with Rue twice a day, carrying him in my arms. We have a backpack for him. I haven't figured out yet how to get the rooster in this backpack.
Well, he goes in. The question is, how do we keep him in?
Well, as soon as he goes in, and then as soon as you pull this, so I think there's an emotional wound of having anything constricted around his neck because of the history of chickens. And so as soon as this closes in, he freaks out.
It may be ancestral.
I think so. And so I haven't figured out how to take him on the bicycle yet, but I've taken him for a couple walks a day in my arms.
The latest thing is you're thinking of like a baby sling.
I do think a baby sling where you're kind of, it holds you so that the baby could be close to your chest or nursing.
Because right now you hold him like this.
Yeah, and he loves it.
But then your arm gets like numb because
and I can't jog.
He's not a small
very
rooster.
well. I did jog for
he keeps growing.
He does. For about an eighth of a mile, I kept jogging with this giant rooster who's now making turkeys look small.
Yeah, he's like wild turkey sized right now. Oh, I get to scroll down. Let's see.
Holy smokes. What was that way right up above at the very top that said what you
your truth? What you I don't understand. Oh, who drives the RV better? I have not driven the RV, and I don't plan to until we are driving across the Midwest and we're on straight-ish highways. So
we are in what's I love the name of it. It's a Winnebago Journey Express. Interesting. 34Y, which means it's 35 feet long. The Y is designated layout. I don't know why they call it 34. I love that it's called the Journey. This RV has a short wheelbase. The wheels are close together so that you can make tight turns in cities and stuff. It means that in windy conditions, it does not do well. Twisty mountain roads, it wants to pull itself off the side of the road. Any bumps in the road, it gets really wobbly. And so we've been going over quite literally mountain pass after mountain pass after mountain pass. And it's been, it's a beautiful, amazing RV, and it's really challenging to drive. So my guess is she'd be every bit as good as me, but I can understand her not wanting to white knuckle through it. What does it mean for our future RV if we go from this RV into another RV? The word that just keeps coming to mind to Jessica is tag axle. And what is a tag axle, Pookie? Am I putting you on the spot? You're reading so much good stuff. What is a tag axle? I don't think you've
I don't know.
A tag axle is that double set of wheels that you want at the back of the RV.
Yeah.
That helps keep it stable.
I mean, ultimately, if we were to buy a dream RV, it would be an electric-powered RV, but they don't exist yet. Not that I know of.
I've looked. None yet.
I'm skimming through looking for more questions. It looks like people are having conversations amongst themselves. If nobody has any other questions, we've had a pretty long day, so it might be a good time to wrap it up and see if we stay here for the night or find somewhere quieter, because I thought the construction would be over, but it's still going.
Allison says I posted one.
Oh.
Allison Muse. Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay. How do I keep my faith on when I want to manifest when things are happening that keep pulling me into worry and doubt?
I was playing with this one with a client earlier today, and it was really cool, actually. I had some very cool coaching sessions. And in my second coaching session, an entrepreneur was worried of where her clients were coming from this month. They'd always come in past months. And what we did is we had her get grounded, breathe into it, did some tapping work, both on the negative and the positive. And a client reached out to her via text before we had even finished the tapping.
Oh, that's awesome.
By shifting your energetic state. So we don't look at these things and say, well, this is bad versus something else is good. It's all part of the journey. And the more that we can play with it on an energetic level and recognize it for what it is. I'm calling each of these challenges happening for you, for me, for Jessica, cosmic setups to help us learn how more quickly can we flip our energy, how much more quickly can we learn and lean into our wounds. And that helps bring about the manifestation process if it's for our highest good and the highest good of all. If you're trying to manifest $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, or whatever dollars, and your path is best served in a different direction, chances are it won't come about. I was trying to hold on to this home between you and me. I was really trying to find a way for too long. It wasn't supposed to be. When I let go and leaned into the unknown, that was the lesson in having faith. I feel things started to get easier for getting out. They didn't get easy in that house, ever. But a path began to appear before us. So we look for the red lights, we look for the green lights, and we go, all right, God, source, universe, angels. The amount of time I have spent praying to angels over this last month has been incredible. And say, please help me, please help me, please help me, and then lean forward.
Thank you for answering that. There are a couple quick questions I think we can answer pretty quickly. That's redundant. Sandra, what's your next stop? Next stop so far, and we're being very open about or loose about our itinerary, especially with the fires in the West. I mean, we've already totally thrown out the original plan out the window a handful of times. So far, the next stop is Old Faithful in Yellowstone.
After a couple days here.
Right. Actually, it's Gardner, which is the north entrance of Yellowstone, and then Old Faithful.
Yeah. And maybe going into that valley now? I don't know.
Lamar Valley, possibly, because every time we've gone through there, we've seen wolves.
We've seen wolves, and I literally, the last time I was in Lamar Valley, actually it was 2 times ago, I got to sit and meditate with the buffalo. And that was really, really cool.
From a distance. From a distance.
10, 15 feet.
That's, okay, don't do that at home. don't do that anywhere.
Okay, I'll buy that. Tony have thought about it, about Tesla coming out with a rig and modifying their rig for an RV, but I figured it would be more like $1 million rig rather than 150,000. But that would be an option. I know that they've got their truck, their pickup truck, which we have a $100 deposit on. You could pull a 5th wheel with that thing.
You could.
Not that that's really what we want, but it'd be electric.
Yeah. And the reason for not wanting to pull a 5th wheel is that we like all being in the same space. I mean, like with the animals, and in a 5th wheel, you're separated from the cabin. I mean,
that's a good way to put it.
I thought actually the cabin is like
you're separated from the home.
Yeah.
The home you're pulling behind you. You're not driving as part of the home.
Okay, will you show Sedona when you are there? Yes, we definitely plan on recording footage everywhere we go. Evelyn asks, ever considered a tiny house? We have considered it. I think a typical tiny house might be too tiny for all, how many of us are there? 6 of us. And
Plus the snails, but that's a whole nother story.
and we do still have plans on growing our family with a baby when timing is divine. And if you're recording a show, I'd like there to be some space so that the baby can sleep in peace. And so the baby could have space from Ruru, who likes to crow all day long.
It's true. He does. It's a hobby.
It's not just at 4:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning. It's all day long.
We got to figure this out if we do end up full timing for a while, though. Whether we would pull a studio behind us. Actually, I know how we could do it.
Questions we don't have to answer right now.
All right, I'm like scheming.
Will you still be conducting interviews while on the road? During this instance, this 6-week period, you do not have plans on conducting interviews, but we are open if you happen to meet a magical person during the travels.
And if Tony Robbins calls me up and says, "Can I be on the show tomorrow?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, "Yeah, we'll find a way."
Yeah. And one of the reasons is there's so much to process during these early weeks of travel. Just like feeling like we're pushed out of the home that we were in, and processing that, and learning about this RV and how it functions, and getting into a routine. And we are still holding our classes. That if we were also to throw in interviews on top of everything else we're doing, it would just be really stressful.
And we haven't even mentioned it to anybody, but we do have not automatic writing. That's next week. We do have a boot camp tomorrow night on breakdown to breakthrough.
Yeah, the topic is breakdown to breakthrough, which is exactly what we've been going through. And I apologize. I'm not sure if that webpage has been updated yet, but it may have.
And it's okay. It's okay either way. It's totally okay. There was a thought.
There's an automatic writing class.
Next, for those who are currently in our automatic writing program, there's a class this Thursday. If you're new to automatic writing, we're going to have a class next Thursday for you. For those who are interested in automatic writing, you can go to automaticwriting.com to find out about this. There's something I think I messed up above, but I'm hitting the sleeping
Do you
gene.
still have your yellow Tesla?
That was the question.
Our cars are currently in storage because we don't know what the next phase of our lives after this trip is going to look like. If we end up full timing in the RV, it might be time to sell the Tesla. But if we're only in the RV a few months out of the year, then we'll keep the Tesla. There is an option to tow the Tesla, but you'd have to tow it with all 4 wheels up, meaning you'd have to tow a trailer that carries the Tesla. The downside to that is it's very difficult to back up. And to get into some of the campgrounds, it means you have to disconnect the trailer. Well, first you have to pull off the car, drive the car off the trailer, then you have to pull the trailer off of the RV, and then you park the RV. And
can you imagine with all the challenges it is just to pull this thing in, what that would be like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge just to drive this RV without towing anything. At the moment, we have 2 e-bikes on the back of this RV, and that it allows us to get around easily and without the hassle of having to back up a trailer. Where do you keep Meowsers? Meowsers is free to roam the RV wherever he wants.
It is his RV, he would say.
All the kitties seem to love to gather on the queen size bed with us at night.
As we sleep in funny angles.
Yeah, we're not used to
it
because back at the house we had a king size bed, so if all 3 kitties piled on, there was a lot more space. So
and this is an RV queen. It's a little bit on the squished, narrow side.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you, Catherine.
Let's see. Thank you, Allison, for answering that question.
And Straight Armor said, come to Idaho. We did go through Driggs. That was very beautiful.
It was super smoky, so we didn't really get a sense of what Driggs was really like. We kind of just wanted to get out of there because of the smoke. But we might head back that way because we were considering that town as a potential future home base. Tammy recommends moving to Mexico. You know, I raised that as a possibility.
Everywhere from Canada to Mexico to Thailand to you name it.
And Denise asks, is Southern Comfort traveling? Yes, Southern Comfort spends most of the time on the dash. And he's there right now.
Sleeping.
Southern Comfort is a puppet, not the drink.
This is a very sober drive, and then let's wrap this up because I don't even know if I have energy to get into
this is Southern Comfort.
Walmart to find earplugs to go to sleep.
We're not drinking Southern Comfort and driving.
Well, I've been enjoying
Jessica,
the
if you
drive.
could make one wish, what would it be?
What would that be?
Just more peace. More peace, which I believe will result in carrying a baby full term. So I guess that might be 2 wishes, but
I like that wish.
All right. On that note, it's 111. I know, Evelyn, we thought about Canada too, but the borders are still closed.
We would love to go to Canmore. It just even sounds good, Canmore, but we can't. Well, we could try just driving up there and saying, hey, do you want to let us in? We want to go to Canmore.
Yes, Canada is cold, but we love the cold. We kind of thrive in it. So, thank you, everyone, for joining us, for being patient and waiting for us to reappear. It feels really good to reconnect with you guys. Catherine asked, when will the next video update be? I think the plan is to keep it Sunday night, right?
When is our anniversary? Friday?
Saturday?
Today's the 26th.
Today's the 6th. Saturday is our anniversary. Yeah.
So far, I believe Sunday. And we may theoretically have a video out before then. Cannot promise, do not even want to attempt to promise anything. But we'll see how it goes on Sunday and where we are from an internet point of view. You can certainly come to our boot camp tomorrow night.
Go to inspirenationuniversity.com and you'll find the boot camp there. And we are posting on Patreon regularly, so you can get more behind the scenes of what's going on and video confessionals, like when we're in the midst of
crying.
Yeah. You want to see us crying? Go to patreon.com // Inspire Nation. Is that right?
I believe so.
I'll type it.
Long arms.
But yeah,
she has a longer torso than me. I'm
They do
taller
look
than
really
her.
long.
I'm sitting on a pillow, so I don't look like a Smurf.
Just put the link down for our Patreon, and I'm putting down the link for Inspire Nation University, where you can find, all that right, Inspire Nation University. Yes, where you can find all of our online courses. And lastly, a link for automaticwriting.com, which is our favorite spiritual tool.
Or none.
Anything else?
No, I am beyond tired. I love you guys so much. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Annabelle.
Thank you.
And we even have people here from China tonight. So thank you for watching from wherever you are. We love you guys so much. And thank you for coming along on the journey with us. I think this is going to be an amazing, positive experience for all of us. Doesn't mean easy, but I think the more open and honest we can be and the more we can share with you, the more you're going to get something really special out of this as well. So that's all I've got. And thank you, Pookie,
Thanks for joining us tonight.
everything.
Thanks for doing all the driving.
I'm wiped. I am using my arms locked together to hold me up right now, quite literally.
All right. That's a good time to say goodnight.
And throw ourselves into a Walmart.
And good morning if you're in China or that side of the earth.
So, love you guys. Woohoo! Somebody asked earlier, can we get a woohoo?
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo! I don't know if they're even still here, but the woohoo is still growing. It's strong. Woohoo energy is still strong. Love you guys.
Bye. Good night.
Great job, Cookie.